crazy amount of AI news this week, and most of this is not feature level launch, but rather anticipation of something huge that might happen in the future. I'm going to start off with very good use case that Google released last week. It's called Med-Gemini, and these are the models that were trained on top of their Gemini model, but specifically fine-tuned for medical-based use cases. It was announced on Twitter, and it outperforms even models 4 when it comes to medical specific use cases. So if you look at the model benchmarks here, you can see where GPT scored 90.2 in MedQA, which is the medical level examination in the US. MedGemini scored 91.1. GPT 3.5 scored 60, and almost all the other models like MedPalm and BioLink Bird and MedPalm 2 are of Google. So Google seems to be really making some headway when it comes to the medical use cases in AI, which is good because you would want more and more of AI to be used for medical use cases. If you look at some of the samples that they've shared here, you can see how a user or a tester in this scenario shared a picture of a lump, and AI was able to do some early diagnosis of the image that was shared by the user. Again, this is not publicly available, but they're basically sharing some understanding with respect to what model can do. And based on what you can see, it's also multimodal, meaning it can take images, talk to the images, or take chat and talk to the user, just like all the other models right now. So in this scenario, you can see the person uploaded a very simple photo of their condition and the AI was able to diagnose it. Now, if you look at the real world utility, it's also able to summarize things. It can do doctor referral generations and so on, and also do medical simplification. Based on their own tests, it was able to do better than what humans would do on these tasks. They also shared one more video where it was able to take an X-ray of a person and detect the issue in the X-ray itself. Now, this is not the first time that AI is used for medical use cases. A few weeks back, there was some news with respect to how AI was able to detect breast cancer when the actual doctor wasn't able to. So the use cases around medicine in AI kind of excite me because it is going to do good for all humanity. Like imagine a world the doctors are leveraging AI for continuous research and improvements rather than kind of building fear around AI being used to replace humans. It can be used as a supplementary thing where humans are not able to do as much because of the limited potential of human, right? So a human has to sleep at night. A machine does not. As long as you feed in a GPU, it can work as long as you would want the model to. So again, the announcement was done here and the paper is also available here, where you can go and read about how the model was trained and more details with respect to the training process, the methods, and the testing they've conducted using the model itself. But this was one of my favorite announcements in the last few months. I've been reading a lot about AI agents and agents like Devin, who eventually turned out to be fake. But use cases like these kind of excite me because these guys, or these use cases for that matter, have real world applications and don't instill fear, rather inspire you to look at more positive use cases of AI in terms of the benefit of the humanity overall. The second announcement this week was Amazon Q, which can generate code, test bugs, and has multi-step planning reasoning capabilities. It's similar to what you might have seen with Devin as well. And it seems that the model is specifically talking about generating code and not other use cases. So maybe this is fine-tuned for code generation and it's like an agent that can automatically write code. Again, I've not tested it, so let's look at the video here. You can see this is specific for software development based tasks. So again, based on what I see right now, it will also generate text, obviously, which is what almost all the other models will also do, but it will do it well for scenarios where software or SaaS products are involved in general. So I have not tested this and I don't plan to test it unless you folks want me to test it out, right? So if you look at some of the screenshots here, looks very similar to ChatGPT. So it does not seem like much of a differentiation at this point. What I do think is that Amazon will use this as a customer acquisition strategy where they will effectively enable companies to use this for free in scenarios if they are partnering with Amazon for other use cases. They might also use this as a way for, improving their own internal recommendation systems for their e-commerce platform, or allowing e-commerce customers or sellers to automatically generate content for their product. So again, I'm not going to test it unless you guys want me to, but this is an interesting announcement, and I think this is one of the first major steps when it comes to commercializing AI products by Amazon. Until this point, Amazon has been investing in companies like Perplexity. And very interesting update, by the way, about Perplexity. So someone made like a completely open source clone, and I'm going to be showing that to you at the end as well. It seems that they're trying to now become more commercial and allowing using these products as a customer acquisition strategy at this point of time. The third announcement is by Apple. So Apple's secret AI lab, they set up a secret AI lab in Switzerland that will take care of the advanced use cases in AI. I think it's called Zurich Vision AI Lab, which effectively will enable them to build solutions for their own, I think, Apple Vision Pro. So while a lot of people are saying that they're building some sort of agents, or if you look at this news itself, they are building some sort of optimized solutions for iPhone. I think what they are doing is that they're working extensively on this because the lab is called Vision Lab, and a lot of companies that were acquired recently were either optimized were used for optimized devices or optimized way to run LLMs in mobile devices, or were acquired around computer vision. But the lab seems to be more focused on vision because it's specifically called Zurich's Vision Lab, right? Anyways, I think the use cases will be across iPhone and the lab itself. The recent acquisition of Dataka Labs basically says that they're looking to build optimized LLMs for mobile phones, and they also launched OpenELM, their own AI model that allows them to run the mobile or the mod by Apple, which I think will be used extensively in the iPhone. So this was about Apple. There was one more interesting thing that got announced last week, and there was a lot of anticipation around this. It was about GPT-2. So I wasn't sure what was going on, but I did some digging into this, and it seems that on LMSYS, a mysterious GPT-2 chatbot appeared, and a lot of people started anticipating what this was because everyone felt like this was launched secretly by OpenAI and was an advanced version of GPT 4.5. And a bunch of people did testing around this and were able to get some good responses. Now, I don't know, they did it just so they can get some, how these people will just post content in order to get more people to follow them. But some of the well known people in the industry also posted that the model was doing well, better than the GPT-4 model itself. So this person solved math Olympiad based question one that models are not great at doing math. The other guy was able to create a code game using AI, one shot, which is hard for models like GPT-4, right? Then Sam started tweeting that he's a soft spot for GPT-2, not specified if GPT-2 was their own model. He was just playing with the audience and later clarified that it wasn't the GPT-4 model itself. And you can see the confirmation or GPT-2-chatbot is not GPT 4.5. It seems that they were all just having fun around this, and it turned out all to be kind of a hoax and just messing around on Twitter, right? So like most of the times. And the weird part is that he also called GPT-4 to be the dumbest model any of you will ever have to use again. For those of us who are paying for GPT-4 access right now, I think this is our cue to switch from GPT-4 to Claude 3, which I think is better than GPT-4 at this point of time. Next, they also announced memory, which means the more you talk to ChatGPT now, the more it remembers about you. So I don't know why they upload these terrible demos. And you can see he's saying, I live with a golden retriever named Nelly and Maine Coon cat named Teddy. And you can see it's now added all of these things in the memory itself. And now when you ask about what you had, added in the memory, the model will use the memory that it has about you. So you can see this person says, create a photo of my pets riding a surfboard, please. And you can see that it knows what the name of your pet is and who your pets are, and based on that context it's now going to generate an image in this scenario, or maybe you can write a blog, or maybe you can write a topic and so on. So you can see the image is generated, and it's for the breeds of pets that the user has. So memory will kind of allow you to do all of that. And in scenarios where you want to remove the memory, all you have to do is go to chat.openai.com, go to your settings, and then again, yeah, by the way, so I don't see the option here, and most of us will not have the option because in certain countries the memory is not available at this point of time. But if you have access to memory, you should be able to find it here and change the details with respect to the memory. So you need to go in personalization and you can click on the manage option here and either add or remove details from the memory, or you can clear the memory as well. So that's about that. The next thing I want to talk about is around again OpenAI, but it seems they are working on something called search.chatgpt.com, and it's going to be very interesting because someone figured out that they added SSL certificate logs for search.chatgpt.com, which means that they are going to implement search engine, a competitor of Google. And trust me, if they do this, it's going to impact Google pretty bad because they're already suffering because of ChatGPT. Most people won't, go to Google now and rather would ask their questions on ChatGPT. Imagine if this comes in picture, people don't have any incentive to go on Google. And I think it's pretty bad for them already that people are now, not even using products like Gemini as much as they use other products like ChatGPT or even Claude for that matter. So it's kind of unfortunate a company that was doing really well only a couple of years back is now kind of struggling to keep their feet in the market. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but it seems that they are expanding in every vertical where Google is right now. And this is one way or the other, Microsoft playing its own cards. It's not directly attacking Google, but this one investment of Microsoft in OpenAI is going to kind of make Google dance, like literally, right? So if you, when first they invested in OpenAI, the CEO of Microsoft said that they're going to make Google dance. And that the dance has gotten pretty serious now, and it's kind of going to reach a point where it's going to really, really impact Google, both financially and manpower wise. I think they recently also laid off their entire Python team, which is insane. And they are now hiring the entire team outside of the US. So it's obvious that they are facing some sort of cost crunch and mentality crunch as well. So I don't know, man. Google is really in the tough spot at this point of time. And they really need to look up the leadership because if they don't action, that's going to leave a long term mark and it's not going to work out for them. A company that has survived almost 20, 30 years is now facing terrible amount of threat from a company that only came or became mainstream 2 years back. Anyway, so now that we've learned everything that OpenAI did, so there are two major announcements that also happened this week. Firstly, let's take a look at the Sora's Chinese competitor. So Vidu, a platform that can do text to video, announced their own competitor of Sora that can also generate these videos. So let's take a look at the video. Weirdly, the best quality video they shared is the 720p, and this was like a Telegram link. So I don't know if this is even real. Someone just found this on Telegram or I think some Chinese chat app, and someone uploaded it here on YouTube. It's pretty good, but it seems like they're trying to replicate a lot of what we saw in the OpenAI videos, especially I think one of this in these images were present in Sora as well. So it seems they're trying to build a competitor to Sora, but it's not as good at this point of time. While it's not too bad, like if you look at Runway and Pika, they are doing good generations, but their motion is not figured out. This seems to have figured out the motion, but the quality is still, I think they're getting there when it comes to quality. The generation is good, and this was released again by Chinese company. No website, nothing, just shared the chat link somewhere on the Telegram or I think some chat app. And then someone shared it on Hacker News, and then it's all over the place now. So next, again, I have another thing that happened, and this is again from a Chinese company. It was a humanoid robot called Astribot that will eventually be present in almost all the homes. So it's going to be interesting. Let's take a look. So it looks very, very good, and almost relevant for all the household use cases. You saw some of the use cases that I really liked was him, the model or the machine arranging the clothes, cutting the vegetables. So almost like automating some of the tasks that you would feel like are boring. Machine can kind of take all of that over and do it itself, right? So which is cool, and I'm sure it's using some sort of large language model in the background, but the video clearly says that there is no teleoperation, meaning it's kind of doing all of that by just using large language model and kind of making a sense of what needs to be done where. So very good, especially the initial part where it was auto arranging things in specific places. It kind of requires you to have very strong expertise, even for taking care of the messy clothes. And wine and all of these use cases can the model can be trained for, but use cases like these, and then use cases where the cleaning is involved because you need to see things first before you can actually send or clean up stuff, right? If I play this again with a pause, you'll see it's not perfect. It's too much to the right and not exactly going on top of the object. So that's very hard. Even this can the model can be trained for. And plus it also dances. So it's almost like adding salt to the injury in a way, right? And I'm kind of excited to see what happens once this actually goes live. It can actually do inscription too, which is good. And again, all of this is just video. We've already burned our hands before. When we saw these cool demos and when things actually came out, they weren't as good. Devin is a good example of that sort of fraud. So I'd wait for the actual, sort of a demonstration by someone who bought it and then kind of go on to believe this. But right now, no. So Rabbit R1 was delivered to a bunch of folks last week. And like I said, don't order all of these devices, they are pointless. So what happened is after a bunch of users did receive this device and they saw the potential of what this can do, someone created a very basic smartphone app, and it acted exactly like Rabbit R1. This is nothing more than a bunch of teenagers sitting in a room and trying to build something themselves. So I would not recommend you buying these AI devices, especially if it's hardware, because most of what these hardware do are already something that your phone can also do. So you're investing almost $200, $300 for things that you're not going to be using in the future. It's going to be one of those things that you keep on your shelf forever and kind of make pointless investment in your money. Rather invest in something paid something like paid models where you can actually have benefit of improved performance and so on, but not on devices like these. Someone just made a mobile app for it and it's now useless. So again, don't trust these devices. And one more video that I forgot to kind of talk about was this, AI music video that was generated by Sora, completely generated by Sora. Well, let me play it. That was generated by AI. It was generated by OpenAI Sora model. Not everyone has access to the model right now. So again, exactly what I'm saying in the short video here, the consistency across these frames of those characters is insanely good and not possible by a lot of other models like Runway and Pika at this point of time. So the generation is very, very good. And if you didn't notice, like I posted a lot of shorts last week and I decided to kind of see if it has any impact on the kind of reach that I get from week to week. But I realized that that's not the case. A lot of you come here to watch full videos like this ones. And I'm going to be continuing to post more of the full videos in the coming week as well. So very interesting that way. And let's kind of also take a look at other things that happened last week. And I think there are only a few items left. One of the things that I want to talk about, I launched this a couple of, I haven't necessarily officially launched it, but we've already received like 2 paid users for it. And I'm very excited to kind of be closely with them. So we just set up like a basic Discord group and the students are going through the lectures. This course was directly created by me and going to be maintained by me throughout the year. So everything that changes, new things that come in, I'm going to add all of that here. And if you're interested in learning new things in AI, if you're interested to work directly with me, if you're interested to be a part of the closed community, I would recommend joining the course because right now it's not launched and we are literally at 50% or even 40% of the price this will go once it's launched. So if you're interested, join the genai courses community. The link is, you can see on the top here in the URL section. And I'm very excited to have you there. So you're not paying money for just a 10-hour course, which is in itself huge, but rather to work directly with a creator who is doing all of this for a living. So I'm very excited to see you if you are excited to join the course, that is. All right, so let's move on to the next item. I think Rabbit is done. So it's going to be the workplace scope, the GitHub Copilot workspace. And they released it last week itself and it's very cool. So let me play this video. So this seems like an environment for people who are a part of the development process but don't code. Like for example, tech leaders, product managers, project managers who want to create like a very high level UI with respect to what the requirement is. This space can help them create and ideate basic implementations that they want to do in the code without actually implementing them in the code itself. So if you have Copilot subscription, I think that can be used to be extended in case of this, but I haven't tested it out yet. And if you guys want, I can make a video on this when I'm testing this. So let me know. Finally, for the thing that I announced at the very start, someone created an open source Perplexity clone. This is huge, not because the clones are common, right? Everyone creates clone, but this is a second clone. And it kind of goes on to say how easy a solution Perplexity is. And they've monetized and they just turned into a unicorn recently. So products like these where people can build clones. I don't think this is the UI or this. I think there is another page where all of this is implemented. Regardless, AI products right now are very simple to build because of the wrappers OpenAI has built. So this is literally that time where take older problems and solve them in a creative way and become like a unicorn if you have a good team and your vision is clear and so on and so forth. So again, pretty cool. I am going to be trying this out and setting this up locally for my team if they can use, because Perplexity is a great solution. And if I can, create a basic implementation, the only cost that I have to bear at that point are the cost of LLMs. And I think the search engine too. But if we are able to kind of use local LLMs and bear the cost of search engine only, it becomes very cheap to run. And I'm going to be trying this out. But That's all I'm going to be talking about in this week's AI. I hope you were able to find value and you learned a bunch of different things. Like I said, I'm going to be also doing more and more of my work and life updates. I don't know how to start. You guys have ideas with respect to how I can incorporate more of these discussions. Feel free to let me know. Thank you so much and have a great rest of the week.